Welcome back to another episode of Unhinged Bookish Thoughts with Bliss and Karrie. Today is part 3 of our Villains and Vixens series. We are going to be speaking with 3 new authors that will be signing at the event in Texas this September. So go ahead and check them out and get ready to add them to your TBR. We are so happy to have 3 more authors with us today for Villains and Vixens. So let's find out who everyone is. CA, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I am CA Blooming, or also mostly I respond to Courtney. I kind of pause when people call me CA. I am a dark fantasy romance author.
Fantastic. And hold on, I do have one of your books. You have 2. Currently, I have this one. This one was the one that I was like, oh, that sounds like the mood I'm in right now. So I'm going to get this one.
Yeah, that's my dark and spicy one.
I was like, yes, I need it.
So Katie, or KM Davidson. I'm a fantasy romance author. I write a little bit of both, just kind of like traditional romantasy, and then I have a new darker romantasy coming out later this year.
Perfect. And I do have yours. It did get a little damaged when I was videotaping. It fell off my shelf. I was like, no, it's okay. We fixed it.
It happens, you know.
I was like, oh, it's got battle wounds from videotaping. It's okay. It'll be fine.
It just looks well loved then. It's good.
Very, very loved.
Hi, I'm Lindsey N. Rhoden. I'm also a dark fantasy author. It's one of my books right here. But hi.
And I ARC read this one too. So that was kind of nice. I was like, I'm shocked I don't have this yet because I did ARC read it. And I was like, it's time for me just to buy it. So it was necessary. So
yeah,
for everyone, what have you always wanted to be authors, or is it something that like slowly developed for you? And then regardless, what really inspired you to start writing specifically your debut that you released?
I did not always want to be an author. I have always been a reader. Like, I can remember as far back as 2nd or 3rd grade always reading, and fantasy was always my beloved genre even as a kid. But what led me to start writing was I stopped reading for about 10 years after having my first child, and then 2023 was just like a whirlwind of like consuming as many books as I could mentally handle. And it took my love of reading and my like almost dissociative daydreaming to a next level. And I had some family members that were like, you should write a book, you should write a book. And I decided to just go for it. And I really wanted to write a debut in a fantasy setting, but I love the Outlander, like Chronicles of Narnia. Like, I like the someone getting taken to another world type of thing. And so I wanted to take a modern day character and I put her in a fantasy setting. So I basically put a book lover into a fantasy world. And that was really what inspired it. And I was just like, well, why not? You know what? I love books. Let me just write a book that I think I'm going to love.
I love that. I like the different take on it too, where it's like modern and you just like throw her in, like, go on, girl.
Good luck. So I have always wanted to be an author. I've been writing for a really long time, since I learned what it meant to actually write words down on a piece of paper. And when I was in elementary school, I think it was like 7 or 8, I wrote my first short story and it won in like my school's district. I wound up doing it the 2nd year, winning then as well. And it just kind of progressed as I got older. I wrote my first like full novel, I think at 13. It was like the summer before I went to my freshman year of high school. And then in high school, I was a Wattpadder. So I discovered Wattpad and would publish all my stories on there through high school. And I think it might have been in high school where someone was like, so do you want to be an author one day? And I sat there for a minute. I was like, oh, like that could be a career. Like I never even thought that it could be until I started publishing on Wattpad. So I always say, like, when I realized that I couldn't be an astronaut anymore, I decided that I was going to be an author. So that's a little reminiscent in some of my stories. But I wound up getting a degree in creative writing, and I'll say I kept writing all through college. The minute I graduated college, I stopped. And I just kind of kept editing the same story. I think around the time I graduated college, I picked up Grimm Fairy Tale book, like the collection you buy at Barnes and Noble. And I read one and I wrote all these notes and created these these characters. I wrote a couple chapters, and on and off from like 2018 to 2023, I just kept throwing myself back in, usually around like New Year's resolutions. I would throw myself back in, try and write it. And then finally, I don't know what happened, but in 2023, something just finally clicked. I think it was I got back into like reading for fun after getting my master's, and I wanted to write again. And so I sat down and finally was like, it's going to be this story. I actually was going to try a different one. But then two specific characters, I kept coming back and reading a scene I pre wrote. And I just loved them so much. I was like, I can't leave them here. Like, I need to write their story. I need it to go out. So I finally decided, like, okay, I'm going to sit down, and Darkness Comes Again is going to be the one.
I love that. They like stick with you. Those characters,
awesome.
they tell you who needs to be like what needs to be written. They're just like, yes, you're stuck with us now.
Yeah.
They still do. They still do. I have, especially lately, they still tell me what needs to be written. So
I kind of like Katie have always wanted to be an author. I spent so much of my childhood writing. I have just like notebooks at my parents' house full of these like random stories. And I actually like English has always been my favorite subject. I had like a really amazing English teacher in I think it was like middle school or ninth grade. And I gave her like one day I brought in like a whole folder of my writings and I was like, can you just like look at these and tell me if I'm any good at this? And she was like so enthralled that like I asked for her help, but then like I never heard back from her. And I was like, does this mean I'm terrible? So it was kind of a rough time for a while there after that. But when I went to college, I actually was like, I'm still gonna follow this path. And so I ended up getting a bachelor's in literature. And I kind of like stayed on the reader side of it from that point on because I was just like, I love consuming, but like I always still had that like spark to write and create. And then in 2023 as well, I think it's so funny that all of us had like a 2023 moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy year, I guess, but we we ended up taking a road trip through Utah and up to Colorado. And on that road trip, I had like a whole binder of like tips about writing and being an author and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to come up with my like first storyline on this trip. And I remember when we walked into like Zion Park and Arches National Park and stuff, and I was just like completely enthralled by like everything I saw around me. And I was like, this is what I want to write about, which is really evident in like all of my work so far is just very like nature based. So kind of like what Courtney was saying about like Outlander and stuff, like using those as influences. So that's kind of where my Tether Through the Rift story stemmed from, is just kind of like those national parks.
Now that you
But yeah,
say
the desire
that,
to write has definitely always been there.
with you saying that, I'm like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. But Lindsey, you said that, and I was like, because I've read your book, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I know, like, that you said
Mhm.
national parks, and there was like the distinct like part. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but the distinct part
Oh, I
in the
read it. You're good.
story that I'm like, there is like, I see a park,
Yeah.
and now I can relate the two very, very well together. So now I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That does. And it is really funny, like the 23, because even for me, I started writing in 23. So it's
Wow.
kind of like very strange that we're all like
I
that
think it was
timeline.
I think it was because, like, obviously, like 2020, TikTok
Yeah.
blew up, BookTok
Yeah.
blew up. But I think specifically around that 2022 to 2023, people consumed all the trad published authors that were
Yeah.
popular. That
Yeah,
they
that's
started to
true.
dip into indie. And I think like all of us who were like, well, I don't want trad for whatever
Yeah.
reasons, we didn't
Mhm.
want it. And then we saw the success of indie authors and we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like if this is all it is getting out there, getting the book published and then marketing on these platforms. I think
Yeah.
it just like that was that time that it finally became like this is actually something we could do type
Yeah,
of
I agree.
mentality. Because I think there's so many indie authors that came out of 2023. Like I think
yeah.
everyone I freaking know and I'm
Yeah.
friends
I
with
think
came
a
from
large group of
2023.
those of us coming to Villains and Vixens all came out
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Isn't that
2023
crazy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We all just kind of like boomed at the same time, and then we're just like, yeah, we're all just going to one place in one little area so that we can all hang out. So as we've all like relatively newer indie authors, what is one thing that you would say is the most surprising thing you've learned about becoming an author?
I feel like there's so many surprising things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's once I started, I'm coming from a place that I always thought I'd just be a reader. But once I started, I legitimately cannot imagine my life without writing. Like for me, that's been the most surprising thing was I didn't ever anticipate this becoming such a huge part of my life. And then now I'm like, I there's nothing else I can imagine. I think of my future, and writing is always there. And
Yeah.
then I would say the second most surprising thing is the reader relationships. I did not expect my books to impact people in the way they did. I wanted them to, but some of the messages and interactions I've had have like just changed my life in ways that I could have never anticipated when I started.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Very much so.
I echo that. That's literally what I had down, was kind of like that connection to readers. Even as like when I was younger and I thought about being an author, this wasn't something I thought. I guess when I envisioned author life, the life I'm living is not what I thought it would be, and even so, it's like I'm not even that, I'm not even that big still, like, but still, like, it's not what I thought it would be, but in a good way. Being able to connect to readers has been the surprising part, because it's such like, you kind of, I don't know, sometimes it depends on what setting you're in, but the way that sometimes they treat you as a celebrity really blows my mind. And they get so excited to see you, like at some of these events I've gone to, like Enemies and Lovers, Readers of the not Readers of Valley, Romance Out West. There were so many people that came up to me that were like jumping seeing me,
Aw.
and I'm like, this is so, I'm just a girl. So, like, I can't handle
I'm
this
just a girl.
emotion. But it's just cool to see people like react that way. It's just such an interesting experience. And then I think kind of like what Courtney said too, I didn't realize how much I needed to publish a book, I feel like, to heal so much of my life,
Yeah.
like leading up to this and like being a published author. And I think like I had even told my therapist at the time, because I was like knee deep in therapy when I was like writing and publishing and everything. I told her I felt like this was a moment where young Katie and adult Katie finally like came together and were like, this is who you are. And I say like, I haven't felt more this is the most I felt like me in the longest time.
Yes. I want to dig into that a little bit more, because I think that's a great topic. Because it's so true. And I think, we all make jokes about how like we self-insert, or we like put our own trauma into the story, but I don't think it's talked about a lot about how like healing that can be. So we'll let Lindsey tell us her answer, and then we'll come back to that one.
No, I mean, honestly, like I was going to echo both of you anyway, because like I don't think I realized like how much of a healing journey like this would start for me. And like what Katie was saying, like about feeling so much like yourself. Like I feel like the more I write, the more I'm kind of finding myself. And I just like, I didn't expect it to end up like that. Like I've always written, so like I didn't think it would be any different. But like now that, one, that I'm like an adult and like actually publishing things, but two, like I'm just kind of branching out and finding like my writing style, or like what genre or tropes or whatever I want to write about and what I focus on for my career. Like it's just so cool to see like how each story just kind of helps heal a little bit of you. And it really is kind of like that interaction with like your younger self of like, I'm writing this for you, I'm writing this for my readers, I'm writing it for myself a little bit, but like I'm really writing it for her. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I think for me, I didn't realize like how healing it was. And I think this is something that's very common. You don't realize it until like you kind of get towards the end of it. Like for me, it wasn't until I did some more of the like final edits on it and like rereading it as I wanted to sit down as a reader that time. I'm going to read it as if I am my ideal reader, because I am. We usually write our own genres, right? Like the ones that we want to be involved in. And so I sat down as a reader and I'm just like enjoying the story, right? I got it on my Kindle. I'm reading through it. And I got to the end of it and I said, this entire story is about unmasking. And I was like, that's all it is. And, I've been on my own journey. I didn't realize that I was on the spectrum until I was in my 30s. And the entire time it's been, unmasking, taking that off and like finding myself in that journey. And I'm like, that's this entire story. Did not mean to do that, but it is so healing in the way, right? Like you're putting this in and like, you're just creating these characters that kind of like come to you and like you put your whole self into them, really. Like we put our heart and soul into all of these characters and these worlds, but like we're slowly healing like little pieces of ourselves when we do it. And it's just like, when we tell people like, we're giving you like ourselves, it really is like a piece that we've healed, and we're hoping it heals part of you too. But that's exactly how I felt the entire time. And I'm like, and you kind of get that from other people too. And I think that's like the big thing with readers is we can hear them like come to us, like everyone has been saying like it has impacted other people. And they're like, I felt like seen, or like that helped me through this. And it's like, I didn't mean to do that, but I'm glad like I can help other people in the process.
Well, and like for For Tether Through the Rift, one of the, like, main things I wanted to focus on was, like, mental health struggles, but specifically, like, how I've experienced them because it's been something that I've struggled with my whole life, and one of my, like, my biggest worries was, like, that people weren't gonna be able to relate to it because I hadn't necessarily related, like, super deeply to a lot of the mental health struggles I'd seen, specifically in fantasy, and so when I first, like, published and I had people coming to me and being like, "I have never read like, never felt more seen, like, when I've read this line," or, like, "This describes, like, my mental health struggles to a T," it was really shocking because I was like, I thought this was just me. Like, I thought I was alone in this. And so to see like so many people relate to it was just so cool.
And then it, like, also heals, like, a part of you in that same
Yeah.
process, like,
Yeah.
we heal ourselves through the writing, but then we get, like, readers telling us that they felt seen. For me, it's the neurodiversity rep, and it's like, I have people coming to me
Mhm.
like, "I actually felt like someone understood me," and, like, that's how, like, I handle things, like, I related to this character, and it's like, that heals me because now I know, like, younger me is being
Yeah.
seen in, like, the now, right? Like, it's somebody I would want, like, telling me when I was a kid, like, "Hey, there is nothing wrong with you. So,
Yeah.
like, don't feel that way." And it's like saying, like, you're going
Yeah.
through all these, like, mental health struggles as, like, you know, we grow and we, like, get older, but you never feel seen. So then you have people saying,
Right.
"Hey, I related to that." And your, like, younger self's like, "I'm not
Yeah.
alone anymore." And it's like, it's
Yeah.
so healing. That was something that I
It
didn't
is.
expect, was to, like, find this healing journey in the process of writing these
Yeah.
random characters and, you know, all this, like, you know, them doing it. I'm like, how are we, like, relating to all these people? I don't know, but it's fine.
I think it is like you said, like taking like that step back and reading your book finally after like edits are done and you're reading it
Mhm.
as a reader. I think you're finally able to start seeing what you put in there. I really didn't until like I read it back to my therapist. She read Darkness Comes Again. And I was like, please don't read anymore. I don't want to ruin this.
You're like,
But
"Please,
she had brought
I've
up a
messed up
really good
enough. Please
point.
don't."
I don't need to like be thinking about this actively when I'm writing. And I thought
You're
it
like,
would almost like ruin it, like
yeah,
ruin
yeah.
writing the book
Mhm.
because I was like, now I'm consciously looking at what I'm putting in here. But I think from the moment she told me that, I think it's only now improved my writing to know what I'm putting in because then
Mhm.
I've recognized now I'm like, okay, this character's going through this. You know what that feels like. Like, put this in here. And I think that's really helped like tap into some things that I wouldn't have maybe. And I find like a lot of the things I've collected from learning in the Syrian series and then from watching like that mental health part of me put things into it. And then I wrote my next book coming out, Sundered Heavens. And I think what I'm getting from a lot of readers is that connection even more with this book than I've found in my other books is like someone's finding a character in this book, like everyone is, that they connect to in
Oh.
some way, shape, or form. And I think to hear that is really cool. And they're like, and it just feels real. These feel like real people. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
okay,
like she
knowing what
unlocked
you're
that
putting in.
part, right? Like,
Yeah.
you weren't. I'm trying to think of, like, the best way to put it, like, you didn't want to, like, reveal those parts of yourself kinda thing, but having,
Yeah.
like, your
Yeah.
therapist, like, say, "Hey," and for me, it was my editor. She's like, "You need to stop holding back, like, you're not putting, like, your
Oh.
whole self into it," and I think that was your
Right.
therapist, right? She's like, "You
Right.
can, like, give more. Like, you can unlock parts of yourself and not hide it. Like, just let them see that, and so you can actually take those pieces that maybe when you first started writing the book, you were afraid to, like, say anything about. Now you're
For
like,
sure.
"No, someone can relate to this. Their story needs to be told." And I think that is one thing also I love about being an indie author is that we can do that, right? Like, we have the
Yeah.
freedom to create these characters in whatever direction that we want to. If we wanna put little pieces of ourselves in everyone and write these,
Yeah.
like, kinda hard-hitting topics about mental health and different struggles, we can do that, and we find our readers that way. There's always somebody that wants to, like, find those relatable characters, and it's something that is very unique, I think, to, like, being an
Yeah.
author and, like, just being in the space in general.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think it's like refreshing to see like how many especially indie authors are putting more and more of
Yeah.
themselves in terms of like their human experience into their writing. It does make characters feel more real and like you again that connection is easier to draw. And I always find like if I look back and some people are like, "Oh, I hated this book." And I'm like, "Well, I loved it." I'm like, "Okay, why did I love it and they hated it?" And I'm like, "Oh, because I found something that I connected with in this character, and I think
Yeah.
Mhm.
it spoke to my heart, and I can look back and absolutely be like, "Yeah, that is cringy writing at times, but like I still connected to that character so much.
It's like, well, it might be cringy to you, but to me, it makes sense. So
But to me, I love that character. That's it. That's all.
you could say you hate him, but it's I never get over. There was something Penn Cole wrote on Threads one time that's like, DM is insufferable, and she's like, if you think she's insufferable, wait till you meet me. And that is like my favorite interpretation of it, because I'm like, that is so real. Like, if you can't stand like this character, you're not gonna like me. Like, I've seen some reviews. I know we're not supposed to read our reviews, but someone's like, this
It
is not a
happens.
funny
It's
book.
real.
I'm like, you don't understand my dark humor. Okay, that's on you.
Then
No, sir.
we're not going to be friends. Like, it's just
No, we're
not
not.
going
Right.
to work.
No, we're not gonna be friends. Like, it's dark and twisted because I myself am dark and twisted. I'm like, if you understand, like, I worked in healthcare for a very long time. Like, it's gonna be a little
Mhm.
morbid. You're
Right.
gonna just have to deal with it. All right. So, moving on to like kind of in the same realm of conversation, what then is your favorite part of the storytelling? So, is it like adding those elements of like mental health and like different struggles? Is it a certain trope that you want to like write about or that you love writing? So, like forbidden love, things like that. What part is like your favorite that just kind of makes you giddy while you're writing?
I love writing banter.
Mm.
And I would say, like, most of the men and even the women in my books are very sarcastic because I'm a very sarcastic person.
Yes.
Yep.
And I even like my debut, the first, I don't know, I think it's like 3 to 4 chapters. These are two people from two different worlds colliding, and the banter and sarcasm specifically coming from like the FMC. I mean, it's been almost 2 years since I wrote the book. I will still giggle as I'm reading it. Like, I
Yes.
just love banter. I love that back and forth. I love introducing new relationships, and that's not just romantic relationships. That's the friendships and developing those interactions. Like those early interactions, those early get to know each other in any dynamic is my favorite, and introducing each character, because I feel like every character I have written surprises me. I have an idea of who they are. I think I know who they're going to be, and I start putting them on paper and they just come to life and they become
Yeah.
who they want to be, and I just go with that. And that's, I love that, you know, just the character creation that helps glow the story is, it's got to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Yes. I relate to that so much, and it's not, it's funny when I've talked to a lot of authors on this. I've been on panels before, I go to a lot of events, and it's not often that I will find other authors that kind of think the same way as me when I'm like writing, and that Courtney was very relatable because I'm like, I just kind of like let the characters do what they want. And it's like the banter, I'm very sarcastic, so I love just letting the characters kind of just be themselves. But then like the surprise element when they just like start to develop themselves and like have these like full-on personalities, and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't how that scene was supposed to go, but the character just said, you know what, this is how what's going to happen, so I just ran with it. So that's, it's not, like I said, it's not frequent that I find other authors that do that. So it's nice when I do, because I've been like, I was on a panel once and I was saying that they're just like, I'm like, I don't have 3 heads, I
So
swear.
shocking.
That's so odd.
They just like
It's
stared
like-
at me like, what?
That's because I'm friends with these two, and like
Mhm.
this is like we all have similar, like we all
Yeah.
are so similar in so much. Like writing is like the things we do and don't do in writing is a lot of it too. So I don't know if it's that I just only talk to them really about writing a lot, but like I'm shocked that like people the banter isn't the best part. Like that's so much fun to
Yeah.
sit there and like
Yeah.
I just like evil little witch laughing at like
Yeah.
we're arguing or bantering back and forth. Like I'm cackling, laughing to
mean-
myself about it. Like
Yes.
totally like damn that the way that evolved was pretty freaking fun. Like I didn't see it coming that way, but that scene like definitely evolved into like a fun banter scene.
And then when we're like writing, we're like, we're the funniest people in the world.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think I
I
always
am
think I'm the
hilarious.
funniest person.
I'm like, I am
My husband always
hilarious.
makes fun of me.
I always say I will always laugh the hardest at my own jokes. Like,
Oh, yep.
I will
I've cried
always
laughing.
I
at
mean,
Yes.
I can't
Yeah.
count the times that Katie said like witch cackling like in my office, and my husband would like walk by and just be like, I'm not even like Then I'll obviously go back, like, listen to what I just read, and then I'm just like,
I mean, the last time me and Courtney were together in her
oh,
office in Utah, we were witch cackling in her office. Like,
we even had to go ask my husband a question, and we had like, I think we had a
we were like
laptop.
running.
He was out in our backyard in our shed, and it was like February, and it
Little
just
gremlins.
snowed, and we're just like gremlin laughing, coming to him with a question, and he's like, "What do you guys?"
He's just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's like, he's just like, you two together, I can't.
Yeah.
Go cackle in another. He probably was like, yeah, it's funny. And then you guys are just like laughing as you walk away. And he's just like,
For sure.
Yeah.
He, like, sprinted back and like laughing.
like little kids, like, here's what we did. And then like run away.
Definitely, very much so.
I love it. Love it.
Oh, favorite story. I'm trying to like, so yeah, banter is like definitely, I'd say, like my favorite part of writing too. Trying to differ it up. I was smiling when you brought the trope thing up because I hoped Courtney was knowing exactly where I'm going with this. I found my favorite trope to write is the one where he's a cinnamon roll and she could kill you.
Yes.
Because there's multiple couples across all my series that do that. Like,
Yeah.
and so
Yes.
I found, and I didn't realize it until a post came up on Instagram,
Mhm.
and they had like different characters from movies and TV shows and other books, like different art and photos where it's like, he's cinnamon roll,
Yeah.
she could kill you. And it was just people, I was like, oh, look, another favorite couple of mine. Oh, look. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. And I shared it. And then Courtney just replies to it, sends me a list of my characters that embody that trope. And I was like,
she's like, hold on a second. I'm
yeah.
going to call her out right now.
I even said, I have more if you need them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so
More.
funny.
So
Yes.
that's apparently, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I think it does come down to like, that's such a good banter dynamic because most of the time, if
is.
she can
Mhm.
kill somebody, it comes down to the black cat golden retriever energy.
Yeah.
And she's gonna be sarcastic as shit. And he's gonna try and just keep poking at her until she
Yes.
So that's like my favorite dynamic because that makes the banter so much fun and like
It does.
getting
Yeah.
to like catch each other off guard and things like that just creates that tension more, I think, authentically. So that's
Yeah.
found
Mhm.
that's like my favorite thing to write.
Yes. Yes. Very much. And mine, I call him a burnt cinnamon roll because like he's sweet as can be. But especially in like the second book, I'm like, this man, I've said from the beginning, it's the good guy coming to the dark side. Okay. He gets real burnt in the second one. But
Love that
it's
though.
like she is a murderer. Okay, there's no denying my FMC is just like
Right.
unhinged, and that is like my favorite thing. I'm like, she is. You never. What I was talking to one reader, I was like, the guys are just there to like protect her, but I'm pretty sure that they should be protecting the realm from her because like she could just at any minute, and they're just like, yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna go read my book over here.
And you're doing great,
fun.
sweetie.
You're doing good, baby girl. That's what I say. He's like, he could burn the world. Like, if he wanted to, he could destroy the realm. But he's just going to stand there and let her do it and call her a good girl while she does it. Good job.
Right.
And he's just going to be like, I'm going to read while you do that. Thanks, babe. I'm like, that
You
is
got
my
it. You got
favorite.
it.
Because, like, you're right, that banter back and forth between them is just so much fun. Because it's like, they're always in like funny situations where there's like got to be a lot of tension and
Yeah.
their personalities clash a little bit. And it's just so like, he's just like, and she's like, I'm going to punch you. And he's like, yeah,
Like that.
please. What about you, Lindsay?
I would say definitely along the lines of like the banter situation. I do love a good banter scene. I especially really like writing just like moody, broody boys. That's just like one of my favorite things to write. My artist and I have like a nickname for my MMC and a tether through the rift, and it's just moody, broody, emo boy. And we have like his little artwork, and he has like a little sticker on his shirt that says like I'm emo, and like it's just, I don't know, something about it just like it tickles my brain. I love it so much.
Yeah.
But I think too, like if you're getting into like the like vicious FMCs and stuff, I I think I relate to that in the aspect of like I love writing an FMC that's like struggling up to a certain point when like all hell breaks loose and then like it's just like a flip of the switch. And I think like that's really fitting because like I'm a Cancer and I feel like that's really on par with what Cancers are. So like it makes sense that I like writing that. But yeah, I definitely have a couple moments in both this book and the novella that we did for the indie author collaboration where it's like the FMC just like loses her shit.
She definitely loses in the novella.
People say I've got this. My series is plotted for 5 books. And the next, so book 2, you're going to see a lot of the characters that come in the next books. And so one of the FMCs is like really kind of soft, but you get to see her like go through her own journey and her own arc,
Yeah.
which is so different from like my main
Yeah.
FMC right now. And it's wildly different having to write that, but also like it's kind of fun because you get to watch them come into their own and like have that moment that's like, no, this is not happening anymore. And it's like I like having those dynamics because it's like I haven't, obviously my FMC is, you know, awful, but she's kind of toxic and I love her. Okay, we love her. However, like my other FMC, I call her the Disney princess, and 100% she's very sweet. I swear she's like Cinderella Snow White vibes, and I'm like at any moment she's just gonna snap, and we're all gonna be cheering her on when she does it. Like, yay, go honey, because like she's just like this sweet thing, right? And you know, she's got a lot of struggles. And so I'm like really looking forward to writing like her full story because you get that like soft to like coming into her own kind of thing. And it is a lot of fun to write about.
It is. Yeah. That like whole lead up, it's almost like a slow burn in its own right of like her like going on her healing journey to get to that point where like she can like, you know, just go crazy.
And then she'll have her little friend behind her going,
we know like our comfort tropes and like the things we lean towards typically, and we know we're good at it, like because we obviously have read it, we see the success, but I think we don't realize if we're like willing to lean into something we normally don't, right? How good it winds up being, because I just think we're more careful about what we're doing. So like, this is what I typically write, so I really want to put the effort and focus into it, and it winds up being better than like what we've written before. Like everyone, I think here has this badass FMC where I can't be grouped into that. Like I know Lindsey's too, like your main FMC even, like she's, like you said, that kind of like softer, like struggles a little bit until that moment that like everything snaps. And like mine is like that too. Like I say reluctant, she's reluctant for like 3 books, like does not want to carry the mantle. So like I'm always with the reluctant hero who slowly finally just gets to that point where she's like, damn it, I'll do it.
Right.
But she's very calm about it. Very empathetic type of character. And that's always been what I've written until my recent books. And I have some fiery women in this book that I just never have written that point of view before, but people love one of the girls that I was like, oh, she's gonna be the fiery one, like just irrational, like makes very like knee-jerk reaction decisions, like there's a sister fight scene in that, she slaps her, like whole 9 yards, and people love her. And I was like, oh,
I love her.
Okay.
Yes.
I also
like,
love her.
And it's just like, it was shocking just to see it because I was like leaning into it. And I think even like my editor, when she went through the developmental edits of that book, she like came back to me and she's like, I see you want to do this with her. Just do it. Like go all the way. And she's like, I made comments in the chapters where I'm like, she can be worse here. And I was like, okay, we'll make her worse.
Our editors sound the same because mine was like, you know, she could be more violent here, or like this could be worse. And I'm like, I don't, and then I like I reworked a lot of the stuff, and I was like, and she goes, this, and I was like, she's like, you went like full on into it. I'm like, yeah, I did. Yeah, you told me I could, so I did.
That's how mine was. Like you open, like she kills somebody. The first point of view you get with her, like you have to keep this going.
Yes.
So she's like, I expected more when her and her sister finally come head to head. I wanted her to be angrier, and I'm like, fine. She's gonna hit her. Like,
fine. If you insist.
Fine. And then so she recently read it and she gave me a comment and she goes, yes, all of it. Absolutely. This whole scene. She's like, yes, so much better.
It's so funny because like I have one towards the end of the book, stuff that's going on, and my editor's like, I feel like there's just something missing here. And I like started reworking it, and I was like, you know what? She's just gonna kill this dude. And I was like,
It needs
it's
murder.
she's
It
just
needs
gonna go.
murder.
She's just going to like lose her absolute mind. Like it's that moment that just snaps. She's like, I can't take it anymore, and she just like offs
Yeah.
a guy. And I'm like, she's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes more sense. And I'm like, apparently, if I can't figure out what to do, plot the FMC,
Just kill
slamming people against walls. Okay, it's fine.
Right.
Choking people, it's fine. Let's just
Yeah.
insert that
When in
everywhere.
doubt, if
When
something's
in
missing,
doubt.
kill somebody.
When just kill people. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
great. So as we go through and like talk about these different relationships between these, is there like, do you feel it's hard to like create those balance in those relationships, or do you think it's like a lot of fun to make these like really compelling stories of like these different arcs between the characters? Because it sounds across the board we've got like all these different characters that we write about, especially since, you know, Courtney and Katie, you both have like different series, and so it's like you got all these character arcs going on. Do you find it like, what do you find most fascinating or like most fun, more difficult about writing all of these character arcs and like weaving them all together in those stories?
I feel like it's a good way to one, like test yourself as an author, as a storyteller. It's difficult, I would say, because I have one series that's more romantasy-esque. It's like it's dark and full of trauma, but it's more cozy in terms of like the relationship aspect. And then I have a very dark relationship aspect, and it was hard with these different series. um,
He's
it's
like, I know everything.
yeah,
I
it's
do.
sweet.
We know each other's everything.
I love it. I love it.
But it's really interesting for me to have like different series of making sure you're making every character their own person and their dynamic and their, I think, making sure they're human aspects.
Mhm.
Like there are flaws within the person. Like you were saying that like if you think she's insufferable, you're gonna hate me. I think that's a really good example of a really human character. It's
Yeah.
someone that there's a human element to them that made someone else not like them. And so in like for my first series, I've had readers flat out tell me they don't like her, and I have flat out said, well then you would hate me. Like she and I
Yes.
are the same in
Yes.
most situations.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's difficult and it's a challenge. But my first thing when I first write a book is I get a notebook and I write down the character cast and I write down who that person is.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I get on page, they take it to their own levels. Like I have a character in my newest book. Lindsey loves him. He was supposed to just be like a side character. He got on to page in chapter 2 and I was like, I love him. He
Mhm.
is
Forever grateful for that.
my
Mhm.
I and it's just I think it's fun. It's a challenge. It is such a good way to strengthen yourself. And if you feel like,
Mhm.
you know, for my newest series, is he too dark? Is this person too irredeemable? Dive into it. Like see what is it about that character?
Never.
Mhm.
Never too dark. I mean, I would agree. But I like the different series. I like the different characters, and I like being able to make an individual person because it can be really hard to like not make them sound the same as like your MMC in the
Yeah.
other book and your FMC
Yeah.
in the other book. There's always going to be elements that I think they feel similar because they're coming from you.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's one of my favorite parts is creating the character and who they are and who they're going to turn into and what their arc will be like.
Yeah.
I like the statement of flawed characters because
Mhm.
that's I think what makes them relatable is we're all like not perfect. And so having like being able to make them flawed where to the point they're like annoying, right? Like I want you to be annoyed with my characters because
Yeah.
they are human. They are
Right.
flawed. And I think I even said on like threads recently, I'm like, it's talking about like women, some FMCs are just like insufferable and like annoying. I'm like, well, you know what? Mine's flawed. Just like me. She's very flawed. All my characters are. They are not perfect. And there's a reason for that. They're human. Like that they're not going to be perfect. And so I want them to annoy you. I want them. Like that's kind of
Mhm.
like gives them that like real element where you feel connected to them a lot more than you would otherwise.
Yeah, and I think also realistic character arcs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have characters that people just want them to be perfect all the time. Like
Mhm.
they're flawed with book 1 and then they just get better and better. With my update series, I have my character, she grows a lot in book 1, But then she actually has like a character regression in book 2 because she's going through a lot and she's lashing out in those flawed ways. And I even had a reader tell me like it felt very human. It felt very realistic of someone going like this because that's how life is. You don't just have a low point and keep going and going and going and never go low again. And
Yeah.
so having realistic character arcs that are actually going to shift with time, I think makes the most relatable characters and the funnest
Yeah.
characters to write, that they're not
Yeah.
perfect.
Very much so. Mhm.
I agree. I think like I've found like so many people I feel like ask me a lot about what it's like to write 2 series at the same time because they're like, does anything get mixed up? Like, how do you keep track of it all? And like I can give you all the answers of like all my Google Drive and like my notes that I make and the character profiles and like all these things. But when it comes down to it, if I keep going, I'm like, I don't know. I don't. I just know like it just works that way. And I just don't know if it's just the level of disassociation I can accomplish where I just know those characters so well that I can decipher them. I think this was the first time I really ever did that where there's 2 different characters. My two book series are in the same world, 3,000 years apart though. So like having to have the same like different characters but in the same world has been super interesting. I will say when I first started writing the second series, I found myself there was a scene I'll never forget writing. I wrote out the entire chapter and I sat there and I was like, I don't know. And I reread it and I realized I inserted my FMC, what she would do in that
Mm.
scenario, in that series, instead of the one I was writing and how she would act. And I'm like, no, she's a blunt bitch. She would not like be like, oh, I understand, and reaches out and touches him. Like, no, she's gonna like snarl at him and be like, would you grow the fuck up? Like, she's gonna be blunt with him. So I had to like, I just deleted the whole scene and like restarted. I was like, okay, get in the mindset of her, focus in. And I think it's been such a challenge. It was such a good challenge for me because this was the first time I've ever written third person and multi POV past 2 characters. There's 4 points of view, all very different women. So I think that was such a challenge for me to write so many like that. But I wound up loving it just because like it was almost like I had to get prepared to write certain people and I had like different things to like trigger it. And I got in like that zone and that mood. And for a while there, I almost thought about creating playlists for each character rather than putting it all into one book playlist. I really thought about it for a minute. So I kind of found vibes that I felt like were them to try and lean into. But I think like that has been the most fun. It's just learning how to do it and like actually doing it and finding out I did it well. Like as it's going out to early readers that I actually did a good job. And people are saying like everyone feels like they have their own story, their own path, their own arc. And it's really fun because obviously in book 1, everyone's got like the build of the arc, but then everyone's gonna go in so many different directions in book 2. So that's always fun. The different arcs.
Yeah, I would say kind of along the same lines, like, I think it's really interesting that you brought up like your 2 FMCs and like trying to write them or like writing one and realizing you were kind of like switching into the other one's mindset because I struggled with that a little bit with the novella that we did for our indie author collaboration because my MMC in that, Death, has a lot of ties to my MMC in my main series, Vander. And so like there was a lot of back and forth with me and my editor being like, okay, is this like Death's reaction or is this Vander's reaction? Like, let's make sure we're not like slipping too far into. And like we wanted them to be like similar enough that there was like Easter eggs throughout, but we also didn't want them to be too similar that it just felt like we were rewriting Vander, you know what I mean? So I think that's really interesting that you brought that up because I would agree. Like, I love the challenge of like trying to figure out how to like differentiate and like make them all work together. But it is like there are those moments sometimes where like they do kind of like tend to slip into each other, like just blend together a little bit, which is challenging. But it's also fun to just kind of like work it out and figure it out. But I think it's
that
really
does
cool.
happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens.
Like especially like with
everyone.
us, I feel like we've got those Easter eggs because again, same world,
because
different time. Purposely planting Easter eggs between different characters on purpose, but not too much where they're the same, but enough that like people can find the connection.
Yes. That like fine line with Easter eggs where you're like, if someone picks up on this, they're gonna like I have a cousin that's very much
I'm gonna be pissed.
that's where I'm at. I'm like, there is like my cousin's like is such a plotter. She's got like a whole notebook of like all the different like theories and stuff she has. And I'm like, okay, but if you just read the book, I tell you what happens in book 2. And she's like, what are you
Like,
talking about?
It's right there.
It's right there.
Where? What do you mean?
What do you mean? And I had like not like argument, but like this back and forth with my editor. She's like, I think you need to delete this entire chapter. Because she's like, it's just a fluff chapter. Like they are going to a festival and they're like having a good time. And I'm like, no.
You don't know.
Like, oh no. There's so
I'm like,
many.
bear with me. There's
I'm
a
like,
purpose.
there's an entire like sequence in that's all foreshadowing.
You're like the
Like,
whole
no.
chapter.
She's like, what do you mean there's foreshadowing in that? And I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, I don't understand what part. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you. Why would I tell you?
My editor and
I've
I
had
have
that
had to have
argument.
yeah, we've had to have those conversations, and I've had to like straight up spoil stuff for her before because I'm like,
Mhm.
look, this is what's gonna happen. Like, I'm trying not to get like too much into it, but like I gotta let you know so that you can understand better like why this is needed. So now,
Mhm.
like when we're editing, she's like, okay, if this isn't necessary for the future use, like maybe we delete.
If this is not an Easter egg, like just puts like an egg there, like question
Yeah.
mark.
Question mark?
I've had that talk with my editor for my new book because so my Syrian series, I have 2 different editors.
Mm.
I keep my girl for the
Oh.
Syrian series there. She knows the whole plot
Yeah.
for my entire book because I finally sat her down and I was like, I need you to understand where this is going. So I told it to her. Now, this new series I come out with is just a duology. So I've battled so many times with telling how much I want to tell this editor about things. And she's only read book 1 of the Syrian series, and I told her to stop then because I want her to read this as like fresh coming into my
Yeah.
world because I was like, I want this to function, both of them to function as intros.
Yeah.
They're just different experiences then. And I was like, the other day she had written in the developmental edits, she's like, I don't understand this character's motivation. I feel like I do, but then I don't. Is she helping? Is she not? And I just sent the devil emoji. And she goes,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
All
the
right.
appropriate answer.
She's like, we're supposed to be like this. I'm like, you're gonna be confused about this character even when this series is over because they come back and then you learn them. You get to see their motivations. I was like, so, and she's like, all right, fine. She's like, long game. I keep forgetting you're a long gamer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a long gamer.
I love it. I feel like some of us like torture. Like I know I torture my editor, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait. She's like, I
had to tell
shouldn't
the
I know?
editor who the villain arc is for the second
Yeah.
book. And she was like, I'm terrified. And I was like, when I send the book, I posted on my story, I was like, when I send you the draft for book 2, and I just did the gif of Jim slowly lowering down into the car to hide.
That gift.
Yes.
I was like, that's gonna be me when I send it to her. And I'm just like, oh,
I'm just gonna run away. Don't worry, it's fine. That's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna disappear. Actually, after I send
drop
book 2 off to my editor, I'm just gonna dive into an entirely different genre, and then I'm just gonna like disappear for a little while and just write either contemporary romance or like a paranormal thriller. That way, I'm just
that's what
gone.
we're all doing.
And like no one will know where I'm at.
That's
like,
100% what we're all doing.
We're all like diving into other genres right now.
Yeah.
On top of what we normally do.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta like. I think I heard someone's like, oh, I write like this other genre to like break up my bigger things. Like they write fantasy and then they write like contemporary romance on the side. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. I can because I like started reading one chapter of a contemporary romance because I'm like, one, I can't get out of my head, so I'm just gonna like dump it on paper
just get it
and
in
just
there. Yeah,
start writing it. And I said it to one of my friends that's like my alpha reader. She's like, okay, this is really cute. Can you just keep going?
Yeah.
I'm like,
now
yes.
Like the next few books in both series, I have so much happening, like so many character depth that I need something to like lighten it a little bit in between.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to write a book that's just straight smut. Like no plot.
I have those in my head too.
Like maybe a little plot, but like let's just go.
You have to squint to find the plot. You're like, it's in there somewhere.
It's really not. It's there, but like it's like if we're gonna be real like critical about it, like okay, it's a child's book plot. Like,
hey, sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that. And those I have like I
Yeah.
write under a pen name, and I have other pen names that I plan on writing under too. And I have one specific that I'm calling it my straight to KU smut. That's all it is.
Such a good idea.
The
to do
entire-
another
a good
different
idea.
one.
I don't plan on like really promoting too much on it, and it's just gonna be I'm like, I can then write sentient, I can then write monster romances, I could do whatever I
I
want
can
with
write
this.
whatever I want.
All the doors
It's
are
like
open.
awful.
It's like a straight to
15 after
DVD kind of
15.
situation. It's like I can do
Yeah.
whatever I want.
Yeah.
Straight
I don't
to
have these, like,
KU.
Intricate plot lines I have to arc over
I don't
5
gotta pay for an
books.
editor.
No more of
Like,
this world
Yeah,
building.
no editor, just post it.
No editor.
I'm like,
minimal
well,
cost.
that's my PA is actually like a really good like editor, like beta reader. And so I was like, you're just gonna read this and then I'm just gonna publish it, okay? She's like, that's
Grammar
fine.
focused beta reader. That's all you
That's
need.
like,
Like the one who's
that's all
just
I'm doing.
grammar, not
That's all I'm doing. And then it's funny because it's like you talked about like going into something lighter, and I'm like, yeah, I have like this meet cute that I'm like working on the side, and then I have this paranormal paranormal thriller that's like really dark and like people are dead and stuff.
Everybody's
Everybody's dead.
I've got this like really heavy fantasy that I'm writing, and then I have this other one that I'm trying to like not write right now. But then like the first chapter and last chapter came to me recently, and I'm like, I might need to write that a little bit. And then I got this
Put it
meet cute
down.
over here that, you know what? Sometimes we don't know where they're going. We just kind of
Yeah.
roll with them.
That's what a meet cute is for. You just don't know where
Yeah.
it's gonna go.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I write spice. Like my book is a spicy book. I
Yeah.
have a trigger warning of BDSM in mine for a reason. And it's like, that's how we do it.
That's them too.
But then I'm like, I have this meet cute and it's just supposed to be a novella. And I'm like, there's going to be no spice. And people are going to be like, what is this? What is
Like,
this?
excuse
And
me. What have
this
you done?
is not what you normally write. And I'm like, it's a meet cute novella.
It's a
okay?
meet cute.
It was supposed to be in an anthology and it was just supposed to be and I didn't end up doing it, but it's short. You get like 3
Baby.
chapters and that's it. And I'm like, you're just gonna have to fall in love with these characters. That's all I'm saying.
That's
They're
it.
adorable.
Go write your fanfic, you know?
Can't help it. Yes, go write a fanfic and have them doing in that. I'm not gonna write it. It's
Right.
fine. There's too much movement. I don't need it in it. It's fine.
Yeah. I feel like my issue is like every time that I start on a new story and I'm like, all right, this is going to be my break, like diving into new territory because like I need a
Mhm.
break from all the dark. It like very quickly ends up going dark. And I'm like,
Yes.
now I'm just like sitting here with 4 different whips that are all dark. And I'm like, how did we
Mhm.
get here?
Yep. And
Like, I
that's
don't
my
understand.
paranormal. Like my thriller that I want to write, I like had this like random thought one day and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I was like, oh, but what if this is actually the story? And I was like, this
Yeah.
got dark like real
Yeah.
fast.
It
It was
happens
like
so quick.
meet cute, not so much because it's so short. But like
Yeah.
after I started like thinking about the plot for the thriller, I was like, wow, this it's a little dark there. It's fine, but it's a little dark.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be lighting the mood, not making me go, maybe I do need therapy. It's fine. So let's go into some fun questions now. If your characters had to compete in a reality TV show, no matter what it was, Survivor, Amazing Race, who do you think would win? And it can be any of your characters, any TV show. What would it be? And who?
So many
The
ways.
sigh.
You're like, So if we
I just
say
have so many different directions.
let's
we could
do
go.
Survivor, because this is going to be I feel like the easier one, right? Like, who is going to survive? Who's going to win
Mm.
Survivor out of all of your characters? Everyone's like, I don't know.
I know, but I need to think before I just like
I know that.
yell it out.
Mhm.
But I feel like there's a
Just yell it
reason.
out.
Yell it.
I think it's Remy. Remy would win Survivor.
My heart
I-
belongs to Remy.
Out of sheer spite. That's why.
Yeah,
That's
I can
literally the
definitely
reason
see
he
that.
would survive
Mhm.
off alcohol and spite. That's it.
Love it.
I don't know. I think I'm torn between my 2 series. I feel like it would either be Moros in my Of Fate series, because I feel like he would trick everyone and like
Yeah.
win just by
He would be stealing people's shit.
yeah. And I feel like the same line as you with Remy, it would be Brenna out of spite. from
Yeah.
Yeah.
my she would just like everyone thinks she can't, so she would
Mm.
like She's very
Love
much
Her
like
leg could be hanging off and
fuck
she'd
around
be
and find
so
out.
funny.
Like she's the epitome of that, and she would feel like I'm gonna win this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would be. Brenna's
Yeah.
definitely a definition of like spite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah. I would say mine's probably Vander, which is my MMC. And I think it's
Mm.
along the same lines of kind of like a spite filled role of like he's so broody. Like he's
Mhm.
not gonna let
He's
anyone
also
tell him
just
he
a
can't
wild
do.
animal.
He is. He really
Yes.
is. He's such a
Mhm.
wild animal. And he gets pretty dark in book 2 so far. So
Yeah,
thinking
I
about some
know.
of those scenes, Katie knows. Yeah, I would say Vander for sure.
Perfect. Love it. I would probably randomly for me, it wouldn't even be any of my main characters. It'd be a side character. I have a feeling
Yeah,
that my
those are all
side
fun.
character,
Yeah.
Hiram, would 100% win. Everyone's like, oh, probably like Thea would win because he's like the smarts. And I'm like, I don't know why. I feel like Hiram would win. He would just like come
Yeah.
out of nowhere. He wouldn't be afraid to eat anything. He would just like stubbornly do things. And he's like the funny side character. So he would just be like making jokes the entire time, like throwing
See-
people off. That's who would win mine.
Okay, it is so
Yeah,
funny
that's
that you
Remy.
said that because my husband's name is Hiram, and you just
I was-
described my husband.
Love
Yeah.
it.
You said
Love
his
it.
name, and I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I know
It's
she
not
said
a common
Hiram
name.
and I was like,
It is not a common name.
Yeah,
That
it's
really
not.
threw me for a loop.
Everyone loves him
So
because
I
he's
know.
like, someone called him like the drunk uncle, and I'm like, he doesn't drink,
Oh, yeah.
but he is
He's got
like
the
he's
vibes
somehow
of a
but he
drunk
is
uncle.
somehow.
somehow the drunk uncle, and like he just cracks me up. He's like the funniest thing. Next one, it's one of my favorite questions to ask authors. If the FBI got a hold of your search history, what would flag for them?
Oh man.
I recently, for my second book in my Bloodbound series, was looking up rigor mortis.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Flag.
Yeah, I think that would,
Flag.
that would definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Yeah.
That will get you on a watch list.
It even went to my Discord. I said, I'm making a public announcement right now. This Google search is for book 2. They all got really
Just so it's on record.
Just
but
on record, just so everyone knows. Yes. What about you, Katie? What would flag the FBI for you?
I don't know if I even know if I have like FBI flagging situations. Just very like if anybody saw it, they just kind of be like,
Are you okay?
Like, I tell people all the time this, but I researched quantum physics for 2 hours for my series coming out for literally nobody's reason but my own, so my own brain could understand what's happening. None of us obviously the light of day. Otherwise, it's a lot of blood related things, but to an extent, or like stab wounds and stuff. But I don't even have to do that often because my mom's a nurse.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
I ask
I
her
see-
a lot of questions.
That's like my thing. Like I have my bachelor's is in bio pre-med. And so I was an EMT. I would have to take a refresher if I wanted to do it again. But I'm like, I understand like all of the like things. I was trying to be a doctor at one point. I don't know why. I'm like, I was gonna be a doctor and now I write smut.
And now I write
So
smut.
here we go. Here we are. And now I write elaborate stories that come out of my noggin. You know, it's great. But I'm like, I don't have to like research a lot of that. Usually it's like poisons or like weird things. And if I'm like not sure of like a mechanism of like how something would work if someone was stabbed somewhere, I have like a friend that's a
Yeah,
doctor and I just ask her. And so I'm like, is this correct? And she's like, yeah, that's right. And I'm like, hey, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got like the real people to ask in my
Mhm.
life.
Yeah,
that
that's true,
know
that's true.
these things
Mhm.
that I can
Which, like,
ask. Like, is
That'll
this
probably still
legit?
show up on an FBI search list because you're like texting them. So
They'll hear
Like,
my audio.
calling.
okay.
on your
Hey,
phone.
mom. And like you're in court and that's all you have is like, okay.
Here's your
ma'am.
audio file.
It's just the audio file of you asking your mom. Like,
Oh,
if
no.
someone
Probably
was
been
stabbed
flagged
here.
for probably my reaction to some of these questions. I
Yes.
feel like I've been flagged by if
Mhm.
Siri's really listening
Yeah.
and the FBI agent listens. I always say they listen to what I say to my husband and things
Yeah.
like that. Like I had a
Yeah.
full conversation with, funny enough, the woman who narrated my who is narrating the Syrian series, also does combat and knows a lot about like wounds and things
Yeah.
like that. And I had a conversation with her about a very specific character just for the second book in the Andromedan duology, and I needed it to go down a certain way.
Mhm.
And we like sat there talking about how it could work and like what would need to happen. And like when we were done with the conversation, I made my note. She goes, "That's a really painful way to die." And I was like, "Good."
Good.
Good. She's like,
And in
"That is
court,
slow, like a
it is
slow,
just the
painful." And I'm like,
transcript of that conversation.
"Oh,
And
yeah."
it's like,
And then they
Katie, explain
highlighted
yourself.
the good.
It's like, Your Honor, I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
That's my only defense. They're like, "She said this is going to be the most painful death someone can experience. You said good. Can you please elaborate?" And I'm like, "I don't
Could you
think I
please?
need to."
We would
That's
like
right
to
there.
know.
Yeah.
Tell us more, please.
Yeah.
Now, let's move into like villains and vixens specific things because we're all looking forward to going. We are like, I think we got an email that said less than 60 days now, which is insane to think about. I'm like, there's
I'm
no
trying
way.
not to.
I
Not
know.
to. I'm trying not
I'm-
to. Like, what's happening? How are we this close? I'm like, I
Crap,
keep
I
reminding
know.
myself,
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got to get so many things figured. I'm like, how am I getting books down there? I don't know yet. I still have,
Yeah.
I've got a whole bunch of stuff I'm redoing with my standard edition right now. Anyways, I'm like, we need to get this done because like, I
Yeah.
got books. I got to get going somewhere.
Right. It's now
So-
or never. Yeah.
It's now or never. We gotta go. So what is something that you are making sure you are going to bring that you have to have at all of your signings? Or like for me, I always have to have like snacks because I'm awful when I'm hangry. Or like chapstick. If I don't have chapstick, I start like losing my mind because I'm like, I need something. Give me like I can't give me because you're talking so much and then like your lips get chapped. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I gotta have
they
snacks
do.
and chapstick. Those are my essentials that I will always have on me.
I feel like I learned. So my first event was at Romance Out West in March of this year, and I learned from Ben that I need liquid IV. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
it just
That's what I was gonna say too.
about halfway through the day. I didn't have it at Romance Out West, and then my next little like local signing, I brought some, and it was a game changer. And then when I did Enemies and Lovers, my husband had like a pack of them in his backpack, and it was like halfway through the day, I filled my water bottle up with liquid IV, and I just felt better because it's hot, and I feel like just water doesn't do much. And so liquid IV, and then also coffee, they kind of like cancel each other out, but like I have to have both.
You get the caffeine, but you're not dehydrating yourself with the
Exactly.
Yes.
coffee, you know?
Yes.
Balance. God, I don't even know if I have like an essential like that because most of the stuff I bring, I have to bring everywhere with me because I live in Arizona, so it's hot as shit. Emotional support water bottle comes everywhere with me. I go. So that's just like a normal, like out of habit thing. I think one thing I've brought recently, which no one has actually seen it happen. I have this little rock. It's my anxiety rock. And when I start to feel very anxious and I start to get tunnel vision, I have it in my pocket and I'm just rubbing it. It was actually like a tactic my therapist taught me. And
Fidgets.
I keep it in my
Constantly.
pocket because I get social anxiety, but in a very different way than most people where I don't shut up. I keep talking and I keep going and I'm like nonstop. So then it drains me really, really fast. And I'm a room reader. So like I tell people all the time, I like absorb the energy. And I had like told my therapist about this when I started doing events where I was like, I just feel like after an event, I am like zoned. And she's like, you need to take moments in between to like recenter yourself and create your bubble again because your bubble's just slowly compressing until you like can't take it. And she's like, and what you're doing now is just letting it vanish. And then it's like hoarding you. She's like, so you need to take moments where like you just envision it reforming. And the rock helps me do that usually.
I love that. Yeah, I would say it's probably along the same lines of that. I have to have some kind of electrolyte drink with me at all times. I have POTS and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so like I have like a little medical bag of like all of my essentials, and it usually has like a million little electrolyte packets, and I have like a little container of salt that I have to take with me everywhere, and like you'll just like see me behind my table like scooping out some salt, putting it in my mouth. And everyone
You're like,
always
what is
looks at
she
me weird.
doing?
I'm like, I promise it's just salt, okay? Like it's nothing else.
She's like huddled
It
over.
looks suspicious, but it's not, I promise. But
She's just
yeah.
sitting there, like licking. I
Trying to
don't
get
know
a
why.
picture.
Like
I'm
the
going.
sauce to like to-go containers from like restaurants. I don't know why that's
Yeah.
like what I envisioned, and you're just like licking it.
Honestly, like so many people with pots do, like they just like hoard those and then like they'll pull out this little bag and it's just like all the like little to-go salt packets from restaurants and stuff.
Or I guess it could be worse. You could have like a salt block instead and just like licking it.
Just like
Just vibing, just sitting there in
Just
between.
like pull it out.
Like
just,
lull.
like-
yeah. But it's
That would
actually
be
really
really
cool
funny.
because like I've met so many different people with chronic illnesses at book events because like they'll see me like doing my little ritual back behind my booth and they're like, hey, do you have pots? And I'm like, I do have pots. Let's talk.
Yep.
Actually.
But yeah.
That's a good idea. I think I'm gonna have to get some IV because I did the
It's
Big
so
Ohio
good,
Book
yeah.
Con, and afterwards I was so drained. I don't have POTS that I know about yet, but I do have a thyroid condition, which makes it like intolerable to heat. And it was so hot there. It was
Yeah.
like the AC stopped working on Saturday for a bit, and it was like everyone was drenched in sweat.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I felt so off. It took me about a week to recover from it because I was just so drained. It was like there's like over 4,000 people there too. And so
Yeah.
it was hot. There was a lot of
Wow.
people I was interacting with. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. And so I was like, I need something. I think I'm going to grab some IV and
Yeah,
take
for
like
sure.
put that in my like to-go bag because I think that would help. I really do. And I'm bringing my best friend with me and I think that would help her too. So that is a
Yeah.
great tip. I'm going
I
to
tell people too,
gonna
like, you don't realize how much your body, what you do to it is a delay. It's like that's why
Yeah.
you feel drained after an event is because
Yeah.
your body's delaying the reaction. So as the same, what you're doing before an event is how
Yeah.
it's what's going to affect you at the event. So like I've asked people ask me how I do keep my energy high, and I'm like, I prep days before.
Yeah.
Like I start taking extra supplements. Like one thing I do in general is like I start taking elderberry because
Oh yeah,
you're
for
talking
sure.
so many people. There's people that want to
Yes.
like touch you, shake your hand. You're in close proximity. So I'm like, let me boost that immune system.
Yeah.
But then I
for
also
sure.
take like vitamin B supplement because that helps with like a lot of that like energy, like natural energy level. And I just make sure it's kind of I feel like it's like going back to when I would prep for a race when I was in high school for track. I would just
Yes.
like carb up.
I was thinking that too. I was like, carb up, take your B12, take
Yeah.
like supplements
Yeah.
for your immune system.
Right.
That's like, and you know what? You're right. Like, I'm thinking like ahead now and like, what could I have done differently? Because I think that's something I learn a lot when I go to events. I
Oh yeah,
won't
every
lie,
time.
I
Something new.
overstretched myself this year and I have way too many events, but I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot about them this year.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what could I do differently like this next time around? And I think I do need to prep a little bit more ahead of time and then like give myself more grace at the event. And that's something I didn't think I would need to like remind myself of was, are you getting enough water? Are you getting enough to eat? Are you stopping? Because being on the spectrum like I am, I get hyper focused a lot when I'm at events. And so
Yeah.
like I'm trying to interact with people. I'm trying to talk with them,
Right.
especially if it's busy and you're like wanting to talk to the readers. And like I know this is gonna happen in Villains and Vixens because a lot of the readers that are gonna be there are going to be within our like reader kind of scope, right?
Yeah.
They're
Oh yeah.
it's a giant
Yeah.
fantasy event. Yeah, they're all gonna be our
Yeah.
readers. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna have a hard time. I'm gonna have to be reminded that I have to eat, I have to drink because I wasn't doing that. I'm like, I have to have a PA with me because if I don't, it will
Yeah.
be a book con again, and I didn't eat
Yeah.
like the entire
And someone
day.
who you
like-
know
Yeah. I was
is like
like, I
gonna
have to
take
bring
care
like
of you
my
too.
emotional support person, or else
Yeah.
like I'm just gonna be trash the whole bit.
Yeah,
Someone
why
who
I'm
knows
bringing-
you that they know like your triggers, like when
Yeah.
they know how
Yeah.
to like read you and be like,
Yes.
yeah.
And that's my best friend Ariel is coming with me. And I told her
Aw.
she has to come because she is the one that told me I should write this book. So now she has to go. She has to travel with me.
Now she has to see the
like-
fruits of her labor.
Now
Yeah.
you have to come with me. And she hates flying. So I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is your
no.
fault. So you have to go. And she's like, dang it. But we get to meet Karrie for the first time. And so it's kind of nice
Aw.
that we'll all be together and we'll all be able
Yeah.
to like remind each other, like, hey, dumbass, have you ate yet today? We're
Yeah.
gonna be like, no. They were, because obviously I didn't have anybody with me. We went to the book on. And so they were just like yelling at me via text like the whole time. And so it was fantastic. Let me see. What else do we have? Is there any author that is going that you are most excited to talk to?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm excited to just meet people because, like we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, there's so many authors that all debuted like last year and were writing line 3, and
Mhm.
I'm just excited to meet people in that circle. I've already met her, she's a wonderful person, but I'm very excited to meet because like, she's just great, and I'm gonna actually buy her book because she had sold out by the time I tried to do that last time. I would say I'm very excited to meet Lindsey for the first time, but I get to meet her for the first time in like 12 days. So before, this was going to be the first time I met
Yeah.
Lindsey in
Mhm.
person, but I get to meet her in 12 days. So
I'm so excited.
yeah, and so artists. There
Yeah.
are artists going to Villains and Vixens that I am very excited to meet.
Yes.
Very excited to meet some of the artists. I've been very
Mhm.
surprised the artists going.
I'm worried about how many people I'm going to be like, so when can you fit me on your schedule? Because I have an art problem, and my actual PA that I have, it will probably be like, you can only sign up for like 2 of them. And I'll be like, yeah, I signed up for like 20. Sorry.
Maybe 4.
Oops.
Maybe more. And then she'll be like, hey, you're going to meet this person. See if you can get on their wait list. I know she does all the time. She's like, you don't need any more art. And then she'll like, but look at this artist. And I'm like, see, this is why we're friends.
This is the problem.
'Cause we are problems together. What
Yeah.
about you, Katie? Anyone that you're looking forward to?
It's kind of the same. It's a lot of people I've connected with online that I just haven't got to meet
Mhm.
yet.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. Obviously, me and Courtney have hung out plenty of times. At this rate, we see each other once a quarter
Yeah.
minimum. So I'm excited to finally be able to meet Lindsey. We've been friends for over a year now. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to finally
That's
be
crazy.
able to. But I know, right? But we get to meet finally in person. But that's in like week and a half. So, but there's a couple other authors, Bria Lamb, Monica Moore, a bunch of people like in that area of the fantasy world that I would
Yeah.
connect with. And same thing too. I have a lot of artists that I have finally connected with or recently been working with that I've actually connected with and like
Yeah.
talk with outside of doing art with them that I finally get to meet. Like Lindsey's artist that she works with all the freaking time, Mayana.
Yeah.
I've connected with her now.
Yes.
And we talk all the time. She's working on so many projects right now with me that I have coming.
Oh yeah.
So I can't wait to like see her in person. There's another artist that I work with that a local author connected me to. She's going to be there. So like obviously can't wait to meet all the people that I've connected with. I've met already Melissa K. Rorich, but maybe getting a chance to talk to her more. I fangirl. That's the biggest time I think I've ever fangirled. And even more so when she knew who I was when I met her.
Oh wow.
That was so freaking cool. And now my booth is 2 over.
I was going to say,
from
isn't your
her.
booth like right next to her too?
Yeah, I'm right by her. And then because then next to her is LJ Andrews, who
Yeah.
I'm right
Yeah.
next to.
Mhm.
And then across from her is like another author that's pretty big. So I was just like, I am scared about the corner I'm in. It's a lot of traffic.
It's a lot.
And again,
Mhm.
I've met LJ too. I met her at Enemies and Lovers, but just getting able to see them again is going to be really nice. Be able to
Yeah.
maybe talk to Melissa a little bit more will be cool. And then there's another author. She's like one of the only contemporary people that I read. Her name's Raya Morris Edwards. She writes dark cowboy romances. And she was the first person to ever get me out. She was the first author that got me out of fantasy and sci-fi. Last August, when I was like, I can't keep reading fantasy because I'm building my own world. And I read her first book, and now I'm obsessed with like the collection. So I was like, I'm gonna bring them. Those are the only books I'm bringing to actually get signed.
Aw.
Love it. Love it. Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really a lot of the same people that y'all already mentioned. I'm really excited to meet LJ Andrews for the first time because I have not met her yet. And I think just like there's so many people like within our circle of like Bookstagram or like booktok or whatever you want to like call it that we've kind of connected with over the last like year or so, and like Villains and Vixens is kind of feeling like a big like group meetup for that, and it's
Mhm.
just I can't wait. I feel like it's going to be such an awesome vibe. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I've called it a reunion, even though we've
Yeah,
never all
it's-
met. However,
but we like all
we've
know each
talked.
other.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's, I
Yeah.
was looking at the different, like when Karrie and I initially like came up with this idea, I was like, okay, how many people do I know, or like how many people are in like group chats that I'm in that I could convince to come on? And I was like, oh my God,
Jets.
there are so many. And I'm like going
So
down the
many
list.
overlaps.
I was like,
yeah, I
oh,
feel like we just
there's
all connect somehow.
it's like, there's not like 5 degrees of separation. It's like 2
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point. And I'm like, okay, this
It's
is
just
gonna
a
be
big Venn diagram of
really
authors.
just all of us together. And I'm like, there are so many of it. And I'm like, we have to like narrow it down because we had like a massive list. And I was like, all right, we have to narrow it down to like a few. And we're like, okay, these are the ones that like she knows about and I know about. And I could like,
Yeah.
who can
There you
who do
go.
I feel like I can convince more? That was pretty much what it was. I was like, whoever's on are the people that I'm like, you know what? I can be like, please, sir, can you come out? Get big hard enough and they will come on my show. So yes,
You
I
gotta
was
beg
like,
me.
please. Yes. And so Lisa, I'm like, there's just so many. And it's funny because a lot of the readers too are all coming to Villains and
Yeah.
Vixens. So
Yeah.
it's like all the people
A
I've
lot.
met from mainly Instagram, because that's like where I started, are all going to be in one place. And I'm like,
Yep.
there are too many people to try to talk to in 2 days. Okay.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
have enough
nervous
time.
about.
Yes.
It's been crazy for me for events. Like when I was at Enemies and Lovers, I think I had 3 or 4 people that are in my Discord that I had no idea were coming
Wow.
that
Mhm.
came to, or even at the event here in Utah, it was crazy to have people come to my table and be like, I'm so excited to meet you. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like Villains and Vixens is going to be that.
It's gonna be even bigger now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who are tagging me in things that I knew they were coming or I would forget that they were coming. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe this. This is going to
Mhm.
be insane. People that were, I had someone at Enemies and Lovers came up to me and she goes, I arc read your first book. I loved it. And I was like, who are you?
Yeah.
It's
Walk
the who
away.
are
And I
you
was like,
ones
what?
where
Who are you?
And so Villains and Vixens, I'm like, there's going to be so many readers. I feel like they're
Mhm.
just
oh
going to
yeah.
come at you.
That's how
because,
I've
like,
been feeling because like the people we know, like that we've obviously we were saying, like we've met the readers we've got to interact with on Instagram that I know that are coming
Yeah.
and have told
Mhm.
me they're coming. But there's been some where they're like, I don't even like I don't follow them, and they've been
Mhm.
tagging me in their posts like authors I'm excited to meet. And again, it's like that. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who you
Or
are.
like, you know who I am? What?
Right. And I
Yeah.
don't know who you are. Like, that's a big deal always to me. Is
It
like when
is.
you
Yeah.
know me, but I don't know you.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, how many of those that are posting about Villains and Vixens? So it's like, okay, of those that I don't know, how many are coming to Villains and Vixens aren't posting that also know me in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form? And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people.
A lot of people. A lot of people.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're good ideas, but they're dumb ideas. So
It's okay. And then there's always like something will shock you. Like I went to the book con and I had someone come to my table and go, hi. And I'm like, hi, do you want me to tell you about? She's like, I already know about your book. I follow your podcast and I found your book through that. And I went, what?
like, wow.
She's like, I started, watching your podcast and I realized like you're an author. So I wanted to check out your book and I knew you were coming. So I wanted to pick it up while I was here. And I was like, you follow my podcast?
That's awesome.
It's like we don't have like any followers. What are you talking about? And like to
right.
have, I'm like, one, you follow this like I think we have like 500 like followers on Instagram or something. Like we're still like very very small because we haven't really been like only this year have we gotten serious about it. And I was like, and 2, you just so happen to read the same genre I write, and 3, you just so happen to be in Ohio. That is the nichest of niches I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Just like
it is.
I was like, how did that even? I'm not gonna. The universe brought you to me. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Here, by my
Yeah,
book,
it really,
thank you.
yeah, really was.
I've been really surprised at how small this world is.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think I might have texted Katie. I recently got a tattoo and I'm like lying on this tattoo table and the tattoo artist, he goes, are you a reader? And I was like, no, I'm an author. And he's like tattooing something from one of my books. And the conversation turns to him telling me his sister's an author, which then turns to me looking her up and she was at Enemies and Lovers. And I was like, I'm in Utah. That event was in Arizona. I just randomly decided at 9 a.m. I'm going to go in and get this tattoo. Like I called you guys. I didn't book this. And I was just like on this table. Like, I don't know if I like how small this world is. Like, what?
Yeah.
It really
it's
is.
weird, right?
It
And
is for sure.
it feels very connected. And it's like everyone talks about like booktok and bookstagram and like how big it is. But honestly, like we make these connections within like our genre and it's so small. Like
Yeah.
you know someone from someone else knows that you can like connect with. And it's
Yeah.
like it it's wild. I wasn't expecting. I feel like a small town that I didn't know I
Yes.
was entering into, kind of thing.
Yes, very
Yeah,
much
for
so.
sure.
Yeah.
That's true.
Are we all our own small town romance? Probably.
Oh,
Probably.
yes.
I think we already covered that. I was going to ask one more, but we already actually covered that. So I think that is going to be it for all of us. I'm going to have everyone go around, tell us one last time who you are, what your books are, where we can find them. And that is it. All right. Courtney, we'll start with you.
Okay, I am Courtney, or C.A. Blooming. I write dark fantasy romance. I have my Of Fate series and my Bond and Blood duet, which are both you can find on Amazon on KU, and then you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at C.A. Blooming.
I'm Katie, or KM Davidson. I'm also a dark romantasy writer. My main series, the Syrians series, the first 3 books out of 5 are out. You can find them anywhere you buy books: Amazon, KU, Barnes & Noble. My second series, The Andromedans. The first book's called Sundered Heavens. It will be out in December. But up until October 1st, I have ARC applications open on my Instagram. So if people wanted to read early, get an early copy, you can sign up there. And you can find me on Instagram at KM Davidson Books.
Yeah, and I'm Lindsey, or Lindsey N. Rhoden. I also write dark fantasy, dark romantasy, and I have a book and a couple novellas out already, which are on pretty much anywhere you can buy books, but they're also on KU. And then I'm also have ARC applications open for the second book in my series. The link for that is in my bio on Instagram, or if you are interested, you can just message me and I'll send it to you. But I'm on Instagram and TikTok as Booktrovert by Nature.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining me today. This was so much
Yeah,
fun.
thanks. So much fun.
Cannot wait to meet you all in person in not very much longer. It's going to be so
I
exciting.
know.
So
Yeah.
we're so close. We're so close. But thank you all again. This was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll say it one more time. Thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait to meet everyone at Villains and Vixens in September. This is going to be one amazing event, and I cannot wait for it to happen. Tune in next month for our 4th and final episode of this Villains and Vixens series, because it is almost time for the event. As always, remember to read what you want and don't be a dick.